Today, it's an absolute privilege, by the way, to welcome a visionary who has seamlessly bridged the worlds of nutrition, integrative health, and lifestyle medicine. Yes, I'm talking about Luke Coutinho. And he's a trailblazer in the field of holistic wellness and lifestyle medicine. Luke's credentials are as diverse as they are impressive, with a foundation in food science technology, nutrition, sports nutrition, and physical exercise. His expertise is further certified by the esteemed American College of Lifestyle Medicine and specialized training in cancer and deep nutrition from the University of Arizona. In addition, he's a certified life coach under the International Coaching Federation. Currently, Luke holds multiple impactful roles. He's founder of LCHHS, UK Lifestyle, he's chief mentor and co-founder of LSI, and his groundbreaking work revolves around integrative oncology, longevity, sleep medicine with a focus on angiogenesis, DNA repair, immunity, inflammation, and gut health. These areas form the backbone of his mission to address the root cause of disease through lifestyle modification. There are a lot of accolades which you all can already see. However, there's one thing that I would really like to mention. In continuation to his mission and vision in terms of creating an impact, I'm sure all of you all had heard his speech yesterday when he spoke about putting things into action, right? So he's one live example who's been doing it. In 2024, he launched a Deep Sleeper India movement, which has shown a great impact. And why is it so important? I think we'll get better ideas when he starts with his presentation today. It is an honor to introduce a leader whose work inspires us all to reimagine the future of healthcare. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Luke Coutinho to the stage.
All right, we have exactly about 30 minutes and then 5 minutes for Q&A. So let's get right into it. Good morning, everyone. How many of you had your breakfast? How many of you had a carb-heavy breakfast? I just want honest answers over here. How many of you did your workout in the morning knowing that you have a full day today? Fewer hands. How many of you slept at least 7 hours last night, woke up feeling rested? Not rested. Okay. So you see, right now, even before we go into a presentation, we have so much of opportunity to prevent and improve our own metabolic health. Before we go out there to teach other people, to coach other people, we need to start walking the talk. What are we doing every day? Now, we may say, oh, it's only 2 days of an LSI event. I'll start on Monday. But are trillions of cells in your body and your hormones waiting for Monday? Or are they working every second of the day that you're awake and while you're asleep? This is what we forget. We become so great at procrastination. We love science. We love all the complexities of biology and chemistry, which is fantastic. It makes so much of sense to us. It gives us that little evidence-based push that something's right. But how many of us or our patients end up making behavioral changes and actually follow what will actually make that science bring an outcome of actual healing, recovery, and prevention? That is the biggest gap. At this point, we don't need more science. We need more science in the area of pharmaceuticals, cancer, surgery to come up, because disease is evolving and changing all the time. The way an ER-positive breast cancer would express itself 10 years ago is very different from the way it'll express itself today, because you have environmental factors that influence it. You have epigenetics that is changing constantly the expression of our genes. We have our own lifestyle habits, the increase of sugar, carbohydrates, pesticides in food, pollution in air, and all of these things. Now, does our normal medical prescription cover this? No, and it's not supposed to. The job of medicine is to identify a symptom and medicate it. There's nothing wrong with that. What about our diet plans as nutritionists? Do we cover all of this, or do we still think a piece of paper with calories and macros and B vitamins and all of that stuff is going to fix a problem that needs a holistic approach? That is our biggest gap. You all had eminent speakers speak yesterday about metabolic health and what it is, so I'm sure all of you know what it is right now. So I don't want to go into stuff. I want to spend this time in learning something new that we can impact our lives and the lives of others right away. The change that you're going to make with your patients is the change that you make with yourself first, always. So getting right into it, we're going to talk about lifestyle medicine. What is lifestyle medicine? Is it a field of medicine? Absolutely yes. You just don't have a license to prescribe allopathy. But you have a license to help patients get off their medicine with an allopathic doctor in the loop. So you have a thyroid patient who's come with 100 mg of medication. You're changing lifestyle, changing nutrition, reducing stress levels, the TSH levels come down. The doctor says, hey, I can reduce the medication to 50. You're on 50 for 3 months. Levels are still great on 50. The doctor can now reduce you to 25. How? What? Has the medicine made it better? It suppressed your symptom, but your lifestyle has allowed your doctor to reduce your medication. The same thing with your diabetic medication, the same thing with your statins, your high blood pressure, and every other medication. There'll be certain categories like chemotherapy, radiation, which will have its fixed preset dependent on the patient, age, and the kind of cancer. Other than that, that is what lifestyle medicine is. It tries to find out why you have diabetes, why you have metabolic syndrome, why you have a tumor, why you have a recurrent stent in your heart. Once you identify the root cause, now you can have your medicine to treat it, to save your life, but you have a whole set of lifestyle protocols that can help you get better. We're living longer in this country, but it is not lifespan that we look at. Lifespan is the number of years you live. Health span is the quality of your life within those years. Do we think we have the best quality life of people in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s in our country? Very few. That's not the way to live. We don't want to live longer and suffer. We want to live longer and enjoy our lives. That is where lifestyle medicine comes in. Metabolic health, real quick refresher for anyone who missed it. Glucose levels, it's a cluster of problems. Cholesterol, we do not look at total cholesterol. That is ancient science. We look at ratios of triglycerides and HDL. Low LDL alone is not a warrant for medication, and that's why you have an ApoB test today, which further tells you the nature of your LDL particles that can possibly have a cardiac risk, a heart risk or not. So are all patients being medicated on just total cholesterol today? No, and it isn't supposed to be that way. Yes, you can take into consideration genetics and lifestyle. If I have a patient who's a heavy smoker, heavy drinker, genetics, I'm going to change his lifestyle, but I'm not even going to look at his medication. He needs medication. She needs medication. The point is, we need to understand when it comes to cholesterol, blood pressure is a silent killer in our country. We think that, oh, I got a headache, let's take a Crocin. That's great, take your Crocin, but if you have a constant headache, you could be having high blood pressure. In that 1 month or 2 months of delay, what is high blood pressure doing to every artery in your heart, in your body, and every nephron in your kidney? Then we wonder why we get CKD 15 years later. We wonder why we have constricted hard arteries. We blame it on food, we blame it on air and all of these things, but the silent blood pressure, which is absolutely conducive to the kind of life we're living, stressed out, tired, burning out, traffic, relationships, food quality, we got to consider all of these things in. High blood pressure, I'm a fan, take your medication. You're better on medication than doing damage to your arteries. But what are we doing? What are we doing in the long run to minimize this, to help the body come back into homeostasis, into equilibrium? And then we have body composition. A lot of people come to me in fear. Luke, everyone spoke about obesity and abdominal fat. Yes, it's your body trying to tell you that you are metabolically unfit, you have a hormonal imbalance. Some people have a gene that will allow them to have abdominal obesity, but you look at their medical parameters and they are clean. I have many patients like that, big bellies, men and women, but every one of their medical parameters, their CT angioscopes are perfect. So I don't want people to go away with that fear that if I'm carrying a lot of abdominal fat, I'm going to get cancer, I'm going to get all of this. Listen to your body, get yourself tested. But everyone's different. Everyone is completely different. Sometimes we have, especially in the Indian genome, okay, women tend to carry, after childbirth, more weight on their hips and on their lower bodies, their abdominal bodies. We have the apple-shaped and the pear-shaped. Different ethnic civilizations around the world have it very differently. So we have to take into account even that so we don't make decisions from a space of fear. But every time you're putting on weight, okay, forget about what a nutritionist says, what anyone says. What is your body trying to tell you? And be honest with yourself. Are you sedentary? Are you on some fad starvation diet? Are you sleep deprived? Are you hormonally out of balance? Are you metabolically unfit? Because your body is the most intelligent feedback mechanism. It is always telling you what is right, what is wrong, and what you should do. So while we can listen to blood parameters, macros, and a nutrition plan, I want to inspire all of you to also listen. What is my body telling me? I got a thyroid problem. Let's go to the doctor. Let's do this. But what is your body trying to tell you with the issues that you have? What is a body with cancer trying to tell you? It could tell you many things. It's a multifactorial disease. But the one thing that it cannot lie about is the fact that you've had a breakdown in your immune system, you have uncontrolled inflammation, you have DNA that cannot repair, and the list goes on. With these little data points, we can now put in a smart plan based on science, evidence, and common sense. It's extremely important in our pursuit of science, we do not forget common sense. Today, everyone wants science for every decision. Oh, breath work is great for your health. Where's the science? Okay, here's all the science, but you're not doing your breath work. What we need to understand is keep an open mind. Science is beautiful, it's great for us, but so is common sense, and so is understanding that every human body is different. It's called bio-individuality, and we got to respect it. Some of our bodies will do well on carbs, some of us have carb-efficient bodies, some don't. Some can do well on high protein, some don't. So we need to understand body type as well. I'm going to move straight past all of this because this was all discussed yesterday. I want to talk about inflammation. One of my biggest concerns, and it should concern all of us, men, women, children, teenagers, if we're carrying excessive abdominal fat, we need to understand what that fat is creating in us. It's creating a pro-inflammatory environment in our body. What do adipose tissues do? They produce estrogen more than we require. Estrogen is great for us, but too much is a problem. Pro-inflammatory cytokines increase with the amount of body fat that we're constantly carrying, affecting young girls, PCOS, PCOD, then infertility, then early perimenopause, difficult menopause. Why are these things happening? Our internal environment that we maintain in our body is not conducive for hormonal function as we keep aging. Low testosterone in men. I want to talk about that and add that to metabolic health. We spoke about all the clusters. Yesterday, several doctors spoke about PCOS, very rarely spoken about. The very fact that a young girl or a woman has PCOS can mean two things. What came first? The metabolic syndrome or the PCOS? It's two ways. PCOS is that early sign that you have a metabolic problem. Just taking OCPs and all of that stuff, you need to take it. But thinking that that's going to solve your problem is highly inaccurate. Medication is like a Band-Aid. You do it, but you address the root cause of what it is. I want to address today, that's one salient feature of my talk today, I don't want to repeat what people have spoken about, is the impact of estrogen and low testosterone on metabolic health. Men, young boys today have lower amounts of testosterone. Testosterone directly influences, everyone would think, oh, muscle. I'm talking about muscle. I'm talking about your lipid profile and your overall metabolic health. If you have healthy levels of testosterone and women have healthy levels of estrogen, it influences, number one, your muscle, your cardioprotective ability. Estrogen protects a woman's heart. Testosterone protects a man's heart, which is why in perimenopause, when your estrogen levels are still higher, the rate of cardiac arrest in women is way lesser compared to men in that age group. But post-menopause, when estrogen levels completely start to fall, we start to lose that cardioprotective ability. Your own body is unable to protect you. So we need to start looking at low testosterone and high estrogen levels. Let's talk about, since we all relate metabolic health with cardiovascular health, let's talk a little bit about endothelial function. What is endothelial function? It's the health of the inner linings of your blood arteries. That's where everything starts. You have high blood pressure, it keeps creating problems, the plaque accumulates, calcium deposits, and you have a blockage. Endothelial function, it's not working, you start to constrict, your pressure goes higher and higher. Estrogen is required for vasodilation, for nitric oxide production in your heart. In our country, we have either too little or too much. The same thing with testosterone in men. Too little or too much. I like to talk about metabolic health with only heart and diabetes, but today we know that science is also moving into prostate health and several other cancers, and you can make absolute sense. The prostate gland is a reproductive gland, like the breast, the ovary, and the uterus, which is completely dependent on your hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and several more. So if all of this is affecting hormones at a particular age, what is it doing as we age? That is why you look at the human body as a whole. You look at the immune system as a whole. You think your immune system is just germs and viruses and pathogens? No, your immune system is your inflammation. Part of your immune system is the ability of the body to create inflammation at the right time, switch it on, and more important, switch it off at the right time. 95% of the diseases in the country are categorized medically as inflammatory diseases. The balance 4 to 5% are not, genetic, highly genetic. The very fact that it's called an inflammatory disease means it is created by uncontrolled inflammation, which further affects insulin sensitivity and everything else that we're talking about. So this is the importance of belly fat, too much of fat. We are creating a pro-inflammatory thing. Now you would think some patients can't lose that fat. Different things. Some are bedridden. They can't. That is when your nutrition comes into place. That's when we start looking at anti-inflammatory foods, an anti-inflammatory approach, not just macros, antioxidants, foods that are rich in flavonoids, anthocyanins, phytoestrogens for your hormonal health. We don't just look at superfoods that are sold on Instagram and by celebrities and stuff like that. We look at nutrients that can perform chemical and biochemical functions in the human body. Inflammation is a part of us. We have acute and chronic. It's great for us. Why does the body not know when to switch off inflammation? Everything in the body works with signaling, biochemical signaling, called your hormones. If your hormonal balance is great, the signaling and the communication is right. If you have an imbalance, the communication and the signaling is flawed. Most relationships break up in life because of poor communication, right? It's the same thing what happens inside the human body. Poor communication. People come running, I have hair fall, I have what? There's wrong communication in your body. What's the reason for your hair to stop growing? What's the reason for this tumor to grow? It's all signaling. Every protein has a signaling function. So we create the right environment within us. Great, we have the right environment outside of us. They work together. External environment and internal environment works together to create this microscopic intelligence within us, which is called the immune system. So moving ahead, you'll already know about insulin resistance, obesity, cardiovascular diseases. I want to talk about, get straight into action actually. What can we do to improve? Sometimes I'm tired of this word balanced. We use it to our own emotional consolation. Oh, balance and everything. But what is your definition of balance? Oh, I drink balanced alcohol, 4 drinks, at a time. Well, that's your balance that you've created. What is the balance that your body requires? So when we look at diets today, I'm not here to preach about low carb, high protein, high carb. These are all Instagram-friendly content, viral content that can make you famous and stuff like that. But the one thing we need to understand is your current body type, what does it need? Does it need a lower level of carbs and more protein? Does it need more healthy fats? Does it need more carbs because you're athletic? You're lifting weights, you're training, but you're still trying to go too low carb, so now you have a hormonal imbalance. Testosterone doesn't need just protein and zinc, it also needs carbohydrates. That's why athletes eat high carb diets, high protein, high fat, but they train, they sleep, they recover, and they eat. Well, laymen with jobs, we can't do that. We got to eat according to our exercise. If I'm sedentary, I need to drop my carbohydrates. What is the function of carbohydrates? We don't even have to go there. It's energy. Why will my last meal be my heaviest meal of the day? I think one of the biggest problems in India are late night meals and carb-heavy meals, which is a recipe for disaster when it comes to metabolic health. And you can see that in the statistics. Bloating, Acidity, it's huge in our country. Late night meals. We take these patients, we just move their meals to 7 o'clock. 50 to 80% of their symptoms disappear by just shifting a meal timing. Every cell in our body works on circadian medicine. Every cell has a clock. We can't eat when we think we want to eat. We can't sleep when we think we want to. We like to do that because that's what social media teaches us. That's what's the cool thing to do. You watch it in movies, you watch it everywhere else, and your subconscious mind starts to think that if they can do it, I can do it too. But the way you eat, the time you eat, has such an impact on your metabolic health. So it's simple. I'm not going to go into carbs. If you want to improve your metabolic health and you're eating too much of carbs, you cannot do it. Your protein has to be adequate for you. I'm not even going to say high because people misuse high. It's got to be adequate. You're athletic, you're training, you can go to 1.2 to even 1.5 grams of protein per kilo. Don't take this blindly. It depends on you. It depends on your skeletal mass, your lean mass, which I'm going to talk about. If you're sedentary, should your protein be very high? No. It's according to your body weight as well. What kind of body weight? Your fat percentage or your overall skeletal mass and lean mass? These are questions that we have to look at. Everyone thinks lean mass is just muscle. Lean mass is skeletal muscle with your organ weight and your body fluids. Your skeletal mass is only the density and the weight of your bones. And your skeletal muscle is purely your muscle that connects to your bones with tendons, like your biceps, your triceps, your quads. That is why you take skeletal mass and skeletal data when you're actually doing your macro planning for carbohydrates and your protein planning. So if I'm 150 kilos and I'm going at 2 grams per kilo of my body weight for protein, how much protein do I need? 300 grams. Anatomically, you know, it's not possible unless you're 6'5" and huge like a bodybuilder. I have clients who are on 460 grams, but they're huge, they're bodybuilders, they're giants. So we can't go with these calculations that we learn. We got to think over and beyond it. We got to make changes based on people's overall lifestyles, their health. Today in our country, fatty liver is at the highest. Many people don't even know they have a fatty liver, okay? And what's happening is when we're putting a protein overload in a body that has a fatty liver without changing lifestyle, all of this is just creating more inflammation. So we need to understand these points beyond just blood pressure, weight, and all of these things. So now when we get into the solution, your carbohydrates, your junk food and your processed food is a no-brainer. There is no debate and there's no discussion for that. You have more of it, you have more inflammation in your body, which you know right now is the key to poor metabolic health. Okay, so we want to look at quality food, we want to look at our proteins. I wouldn't really say that India entirely is a protein-deficient country. I know this is being driven by the media because a lot of protein brands and supplements want to sell protein. I know many people who meet their requirement. I know many people who they're at the right body weight, 50 kilos, they do a lot of yoga, walk, little strength training, they need 50 grams of protein, they have absolutely no health problems. There is a protein gap when it comes to certain socioeconomic groups in our country and urban populations that are constantly eating pastas and high-carb foods that have absolutely no protein in them. So we are making ourselves protein deficient by not understanding that when I look at my plate, there should be more vegetables, protein, my good fats, and my carbs should be the least on my plate, unless I'm training, I'm an athlete, it's a post-recovery meal or something like that. But look at the average plate of our children and most people today. Right there, you know where we're going wrong. Let's move straight into, of course, you know, sugar is a big problem for us in our country right now. You'll notice I want to go straight into activity. Because gone are the days where we're going to talk about 150 minutes of exercise and cardio and anaerobic. I want to inspire all of you into building muscle. When I'm saying muscle, please don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you to go to the gym. I'm not asking you to lift weights if you don't like that. I am asking you to train muscle, which is one of the largest endocrine organs in the human body. We see muscle as what you see in probably your Bollywood and social media as something for vanity and looks good and all of that stuff. Muscle has an endocrine function in the human body. The endocrine system plays a huge role in your hormone regulation in the body, whether it's insulin, thyroxine, whatever it is. Your muscles, and I'm not saying you have the big muscle, you have to have toned muscle. You can be slim and have toned muscle. Are you challenging muscle? Because when you're 50, 60, 70, and 80, guess what? That's what your body's going to need. to get up from a chair, to sit down, to fall down and hopefully not have a fracture. India and the United States of America are the highest consumers of calcium and dairy products, and we have the highest amounts of osteoporosis. There is no direct link between calcium and bone health. We've missed the bus for the longest time. It is calcium, it is D3, it is phosphorus, it is vitamin K2 that makes a bone matrix. And it is your strength training and your weight-bearing exercises that strengthen your bones. The more muscle you have, the more muscle you train, the stronger bones you have. In our country, we're not deficient in calcium. It's very rare I will see a medical report where someone's calcium levels are low. That's actually a little concern for me, because most people are low in D3. You need D3 and magnesium to put calcium. You need K2 to regulate calcium into the bone. If we don't have the right amount of K2, where is the calcium going when we have osteopenia and osteoporosis? It's called ectopic calcification. K2 is required to synthesize hormones that will remove calcium into the bones and keep them out of your vascular tissues, which means your heart, your soft tissues, your bone spurs, gallstones, kidney stones, which are made up of a lot of other things. Calcium has to be in the right place, but in our country, it's mostly in the wrong place. All of this affects our metabolic health. So when we look at exercise today, your cardio is important, your flexibility is important, your mobility is important, but your strength training is extremely, extremely important. Whether you use resistance bands, you use your own body weight, you do Surya Namaskars, you do push-ups, you do squats, you do lunges, you do Pilates, anything that challenges muscle. Walking is not your only exercise. Please understand that. Nor is yoga. They're great, but the human body needs a holistic approach. So if we want to improve metabolic health, we want to prevent metabolic health, we have to have a holistic plan when it comes to exercise. As we're aging right now, the body's fat percentage is increasing, but muscle is decreasing. You have complicated longevity that sells you pills, and you have smart longevity that teaches you if your muscle mass is a little bit more and you keep your fat percentage a little bit longer, that is the first step towards longevity because it controls everything else in the human body. So that's when it comes to exercise. Work, recover, train, recover. Too much of training will also affect your metabolic health without recovery. You look at lactic acid, you look at recovery times, you look at your anabolic state and your catabolic state. A big one, sleep. It's huge. I have only 5 minutes left, so I'm going to rush through. Sleep is a no-brainer. There is a ton of science. You don't need science anymore. You need action to show you the correlation of sleep deprivation and metabolic health. Pure, nothing else to be said on that. Absolutely nothing else to be said on that. In fact, some people need to fix their sleep more than they have to fix their nutrition. The next point after sleep is your emotional wellness. If you're stressed out, short periods of time, great for the body. You're chronically stressed, high cortisol, high adrenaline, inflammatory state, hormonal imbalance, lower progesterone, higher estrogen, lower testosterone, a metabolic storm in the body. So whether we meditate, we find ways to accept, let go, surrender, lessen up our things, learn how to use spirituality, spirit, whatever it is we believe that can give us that kind of peace and help us navigate through tough times, because stress is not about getting rid of tough times. Stress is about navigating through it, learning, using tools. It is so important for the human body. If I had a paradigm today to put in front of you, it would not be nutrition at the top. It would be stress and sleep. Because if these two are affected, it affects the way we move. It decides whether we work out or not. It affects the way we eat. We wake up with cravings. We choose the wrong foods when we're angry, when we're sad. All of this affects our metabolic health. I'm going to go straight into a couple of foods which are very high on the oxygen radical absorption capacity scale. That's an RAC scale. We're blessed to be in a country like India where some of our foods and ingredients are the highest anti-inflammatory foods. Now, do we need to overdose on this? Do we need to take supplements and therapeutic doses of this? No. That's the beauty of biochemistry in the body. We need a little bit every day for it to compound in our body, and our body needs to utilize it. So you'll see an ad right now for 1,500 mg of curcumin and turmeric, and you'll say, oh, wow, Luke said turmeric's great. Let's take it. It'll bring down my inflammation. But does your body need 1,500 is the question. Sometimes, very rare cases, yes. But in most cases, if we're disciplined and consistent with the ingredients in our diet, We're building sustainable and powerful health at every level. So look at that. Turmeric, ginger, garlic, cinnamon, black pepper. Cloves is one of the highest. Contains something called eugenol, which is also a natural pain reliever. Don't confuse it with pain medications. Very different. If you've had a tooth pain, didn't get a dentist appointment, and you put a piece of clove in between, you can see how that works like magic. How's it reducing pain? By reducing inflammation. Then we have our green teas, our black coffees, not our Starbucks coffees with whipped cream and all of the other stuff. That's not coffee. That's a dessert. Coffee is best. If you want the health benefits of coffee, it's black. The moment you add milk, okay, you block the properties of chlorogenic acid that does the magic even for people with diabetes and insulin resistance. So have the food the right way. We have bone broth, we have beet juice, and all of these things. When it comes to the non-vegetarians, we have fish, we have nuts for the vegetarians, we have our chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, you have your olive oil, we have avocados, all of these simple available foods. Some of them are a little expensive, some of them are our basic foods, but are we eating them? Or do we still think that a bowl of pasta is a lunch? It is in the Mediterranean region. It is for Italians because they have a lot more sides that goes with that. Our bowl of pasta with white sauce and a few sprinkles of tomato, and if you are a non-vegetarian, a few slivers of chicken, is still a high-carb meal. Now, if I want to have a pasta, I'm going to ask them, put 100 grams of chicken in mine, or shrimp, or paneer, or tofu. I'll still enjoy the pasta because I need carbs. This is how we need to start making behavioral changes. So these are some of the fruits that we have. In India, the berries that we get will be strawberries because we don't have blueberries and raspberries, but strawberries itself in this season is such a powerful fruit. And when does strawberries grow in our country? When? Which season? When our immune systems are the lowest. That's why eating local is also such a powerful medicine for all of us. Then you have all of your goji berries, your superfoods. Let's come to our protein sources, mixed with a cereal, of course. You have your red kidney beans, and you also have your chickpeas. All right, just eating that and not a carbohydrate is not going to make it it's not going to make it a complete protein. Remember that, especially if you're vegetarian. Steve, before I end this, I know I have maybe 2 minutes left. I love giving homework to people because I just love people to learn beyond our syllabuses and beyond everything. I want you to study a subject called myokines. What are myokines? They're a kind of cytokine. It's a kind of a signaling protein. Every time we contract a muscle, we produce myokines. Myokines have several functions for our metabolic health, from improving insulin sensitivity to reducing inflammation, its impact on blood pressure, vasodilation by increasing nitric oxide. I want you to study myokines and then correlate it with the importance of exercise and movement. We don't exercise to lose weight. We exercise for this metabolic intelligence to work within us. And this is the impact of lifestyle. While each of you practice in your fields, we need to also be communities that kind of inspire the government to clean up the air, inspire people to endorse products that are great for us, really come together as a community to inspire people who have powerful voices in our country, whether they're celebrities or whoever, to really use their voice for good. You know, the worst health is in the smaller cities in our country, where they see an ad of a Bollywood star or a cricket person, you know, with pan and tobacco or a packet of chips and Coca-Cola, and they have this. These are our patients who come to us at Tata Memorial. They don't know what good food is because that little box, that television or that phone teaches them that food is junk because powerful voices that they literally worship teach them that. If we want to make our country, ourselves, our families healthier, it's not just our knowledge and education that we put in practice. We have a lot of community service. We have to use a lot of strength and courage to change the system and the environment because every day it's impacting us. We're living in Mumbai right now. No matter what health I preach, I can't lie to myself that I'm breathing substandard air, which is affecting my health every single day. It's good to talk about all of this stuff. It's also good to face the realities. And for that, we've got to come out of our shells. We need to form communities that work for the higher good. It's not just about our profession and what we do. Thank you, everyone.